Hi, guys. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Clear to Send podcast. We're here today with Roel and Jonas, and we're going to talk about APIs and how we can leverage APIs to make it easy for our customers to do a few things. Jonas is here to talk about what they do over at Wiflex and share his experience with us. But before we get into it, Roel, how are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. I'm happy
It's always the morning for you.
It's always a morning for me, but it's a good start to the day. Get up early and get things done, and learn about how people are using Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And Jonas is actually over in Belgium, so for you it's the afternoon now. Jonas, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks, Bob. No, everything is going fine. So we have doing a lot of demos and proof of concepts and all that kind of things. So everything okay.
Awesome. So why don't you just present yourself? Just tell us, who you are, what you do, where you work, and then maybe tell us also, how you got started in Wi-Fi. We like to ask that to people who come on the show.
Okay, that's great. I'm Jonas Dekkers. I live in Belgium. So we have a company, Complete Networks. We are specialized in Wi-Fi. We do a few vendors, but we really believe in the real Wiflex Wi-Fi knowledge, like CWDP. I'm also CWNA. My colleague is CWNE, so that's very important for us to do everything right. And we are always thinking what we can do to automate and make the life of our customers easy. So we are developing some solutions to onboard visitors and guests and also employees safely and easy. So so you have a lot of captive web portal solutions. That's very easy to connect, but not very safe. Like on the other side, you have the NEC solutions. They are very secure, but not always easy to implement and maintain. So we want to try something that's secure, but also easy to implement, maintain, and to connect to the Wi-Fi. So, and we do that with API connections. So we don't need any hardware. So that's a brief thing about us.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome because you guys are kind of leveraging the future of how everything is evolving with different applications using APIs to interact with one another. So I think it's just a way to go, for the future. Like you said, a very complex NAC solutions can be kind of hard to implement sometimes. So if you can find a middle ground that will fit most, companies, enterprise companies, where you can have it easy to deploy and at the same time very secure. I mean, it's always better. It's better for us engineers. It's better for the customers.
Yeah, I think even for some organizations, like having this some sort of onboarding or portal, it becomes difficult for them to do it in house, and sometimes the tools that come with the vendor just aren't exactly what they need. Right? They need a little bit more functionality to it, and I think that's where people tend to get lost in figuring out what exactly is it that they need that will give them the features and some extra extensibility of that Wi-Fi network.
And on the other end, sometimes they just customers just need to do one thing, and APIs also allows you to do that. You can just create a very simple portal for them that just does the one thing, and then that's it, right? And they can let anyone use the product because it's very simple. So I guess that's the flexibility of the APIs. And yeah. And when we first met, Jonas, we were actually both presenting at Mist webinar. You remember that? Yeah, and
Yes,
you were
the Nordics, I think. Yeah.
yeah, the Nordic, yeah, exactly,
Yes.
last year, and you were presenting, the solution at the time, and you guys had like a captive portal solution, like a guest onboarding solution, from like a tablet, and you guys were also handling multi PSK for different organizations. and you guys interact with different vendors leveraging their APIs. What have you found, like working with different APIs from different vendors? What have you found, is a challenge for you, or which vendor would you say provide the best API? Those type of things. Did you find any challenges working with some vendors right now?
Yes. So for our solution, we need unique PSKs and
Mm-hmm.
APIs. So so on both sides, there are some limitations for some vendors. Um, our best integration is with Mist, Extreme, and Ruckus. Those are our best integrations. I really like the API first approach from Mist. So if they first develop the APIs and afterwards they do the UI, so you can do a lot with it. It's very easy to use. And then from the unique PSK perspective, we had some problems. For example, with Cisco Meraki, they have a limitation of 50 unique PSKs without radius and without MAC binding, and that's what we need. So with Cisco Meraki, we are pretty limited. Then we had some problems with some other vendors like Cambium and Zyxel, because if we create the unique PSK with APIs, then it's not automatically enabled on the access points. So we need to create a workaround. So we create the unique PSKs in front. How do you say it? For example, every night we create in advance. So in advance, we create them. Also with Cambium, you have the problem if you create a new unique PSK, then the configuration need to reset. So all the clients lose their connection for a few seconds. So that's not ideal. So that's why we create them in advance at night. So
that's interesting. I guess that's part of the work integrating with different vendors. But it's definitely interesting to hear that part for me anyway. Because it would still I want to say in the Wi-Fi industry we're still early with APIs. Like you said, Mist is kind of like API first, which makes our job easier when we have to work with APIs. But other vendors, they kind of added the APIs after the fact, so they're still working on enabling different features through the API. So it would be interesting to see how everything evolves, and I would guess it will just get better and better.
I hope so.
Yeah. As long as they keep working on their API, then people like you, Jonas, can build solutions that these vendors don't have, or build a custom solution for someone that they want specifically for their environment.
I think so, and I think also very big companies are just looking at vendors with APIs, because the UI, that's cool from the vendor, but I think very big companies just work with APIs. They want to automate everything, and the vendors can't make everything as flexible. It's not possible to create a solution that much for every customer. But if you have the APIs, the customer can automate everything by themselves. And I think it's the future. I think if you can combine different products with each other, with APIs, for example, we integrate with Google G Suite, with Azure, with Office 365. That's all based on APIs. So the cool thing is you don't need any hardware or any kind of things. You just need APIs, and you can create some awesome solutions.
Okay. So what about we get into the demo? You get to show us a couple of things, and I guess what we'll be interested in with Roel is, from the engineering side of things, how do you configure everything? How do you integrate your tool with the different vendor APIs and stuff like that? Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, no problem. You can see my screen. So in the latest version, we also integrated a single sign-on on the back end with Office 365. In the next version, we also want to do that for Google G Suite. So now you can also log in the back end just with your Office 365 credentials. So there are a lot of customers that don't know how to use the APIs. So that's why it can be useful that they have that they use solutions like ours. So first of all, just for the Wi-Fi integration, it depends on which vendor. So here you can choose which vendor you want. The one, for example, Ruckus works with a username and a password. Mist is just working with an access token. It just depends on which vendor. So here we make the connection with the Wi-Fi vendor, and here you can create an integration with Azure or Google G Suite. So we try to make it as easy as possible. So we've make documentation for everything. I think if you want to, for example, integrate Mist and Azure Office 365, you can set it up in 30 minutes or so, and then
that looks pretty simple to set up and integrate with your Wi-Fi system. It's you even put a link to documentation right up front, which is good because a lot of times someone who is working with a system like this doesn't even know what a tenant ID is or what a secret is, and they'll have to create that on their own. Like for example, on the Mist side, they'll have to know how to do that. So I think that's great that you can help users as they try to build an integration into your solution.
Indeed, we try to make it as easy as possible, and also you can ask it a trial account on our website. Login is made automatically, so sometimes we just get an email. Okay, we have integrated everything, so we didn't need to help them. They just created their own account, make the integration with the Wi-Fi and also with Azure, and everything is up and running very, very soon. If you want that with some other solutions, you need a few weeks. So that's the power of APIs.
What's the license again? Did you install the license on the VM? Is a VM up?
No, we don't need any VM. So
yeah, I know.
So, and also our portal is also multi-tenant. So that's very useful for distributors, but also for ICT partners. So they can create their own customers and also manage them. So we try to make everything as easy as possible.
Okay, so even like a managed solution provider, they can, if they have multiple customers and they're also needing some sort of portal or visitor registration, they can have a separate tenant space for them and be able to at least use a single interface and not have to do separate accounts and manage separate accounts for their customers.
Yes, indeed, and they can also create a trial account right from the account, and the logins will be sent automatically to the customer. So
okay,
it's all as easy as possible.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed. Maybe I can start with our. We have one free module, so it's no cost. It's only for Mist. So in Mist you can create unique PSK keys. Maybe I just explain what a unique PSK key is. So at home you have one key to connect. Everyone is using the same key, but every device is compatible with just putting in a password on the Wi-Fi network. Vendors like Mist have the possibility to create unique PSKs, so multiple PSKs on one SSID. And you can also do segmentation with that unique PSKs. For example, if you have a marketing department, you can create a key and define a specific marketing VLAN to it. If you have an IT department, you use another VLAN for that, for example. So that's the power of unique PSKs, and you can also make them time-based. For example, if you want to use them for your visitors, you can say, okay, it must be valid for 1 day, or so on. So and you can, for example, for Mist, you can create unique PSKs from their user interface. But the problems at the moment are that you need to create them one by one, and you can't assign a VLAN to it. So that are problems. You can solve that with using APIs, but as already discussed, not everyone knows how to use APIs. So we created a free tool to solve this problem. So in our dashboard, you can just create a Wi-Fi password. You can choose a name, so you can monitor the user. You can add a VLAN to it if you want. You can also assign a MAC address to it. We don't recommend it because with the MAC randomization that is coming in a lot of operating systems like Android and iOS. And also we have made it possible to create unique PSKs in bulk for Mist. So for example, if you need to create 300 keys, you don't want to do that manually, you can just import a CSV file, and we create all the keys for you. So that's the first module. Is that clear for you guys?
Yeah, so the password name is an identifier to, for example, if you're giving it to a person, you could put their name here, and then you could assign the password, and that's what that password they use for all their devices. So the one use case I'm looking at here is like, okay, hospitality. If there are people in, visiting, and the lobby person just automatically creates like, okay, let's put the person's name who's checking in. Here's your password. This is the hotel's SSID. Just connect there.
Yes, that's indeed possible.
Do you have the, in Mist, you have the ability to actually use an email address as the identifier for the PPSK, and so the people actually receive the password? Can you do that with as well through your interface?
Not with this tool, but with our other tool, the visitor registration solution we have. You can enter the email address, even the mobile number. So we can also send it by SMS, by email. So we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I like how you're tying it in your dashboard. Is like, I can see as excuse me, as we dealt with like the API that, Francois, as we looked at it in previous episodes, I can see like how you're tying that field to, the API entries as well. And so it's kind of neat to see that implemented into your dashboard, and how you tie that back to your own Mist deployment. So that's pretty neat.
Yes, indeed. We really want to to try it, make it as easy as possible. So, now, and our next solution is the one-click. For example, Peter McKenzie is a big fan of this solution. So it's a very easy solution. It's just a tablet with a button. You can change the layout and make it in your company layout. So you can upload a logo, another background. You can change the colors, the default language. And what we do is we just create a unique Wi-Fi password for every visitor. So we see a lot of companies that just printing out their Wi-Fi password on a piece of paper, and but it's not secure. All the guests it's not time based, so they can always be on your Wi-Fi network. And if everyone is is using the same Wi-Fi password, it's also easy to catch the four-way handshake and to unencrypt all the data. So we want to create a unique PSK for every visitor, and it's just pressing a Wi-Fi button. We generate a unique PSK, but also a QR code, and it's very easy to just scan in the QR code with your mobile phone, and you're safely connected to the Wi-Fi. We can also print out the Wi-Fi details if you want to also onboard your laptop or something. So
is this something that say that is placed somewhere publicly, or that somebody looks at and then fills it out, or is this something that somebody uses when they take out their own tablet and then goes through, like they join the Wi-Fi and then this is like a splash screen? Is that how that works? Or
no, it's at the reception or a meeting room or at some events. It's also used. So it's not a splash portal. So it's running on a tablet. If you want, you can run it in a tablet because our solutions are web based. We use iPads, but if you want to run it in a browser or something, you can just do it. So,
okay.
And at the moment, the default languages we have is Dutch, English, and French. But for the ones that are watching the video, you can also, for example, add custom languages. We did a proof of concept in Hong Kong. They have added Chinese, so you can easily add your own language
I
if you
can
want.
read it now.
So,
it says generate a Wi-Fi code.
Oh, you're very good, Francois.
Yes, you're amazing. So for example, we see some customers that have venues in different countries. Then you are able to make templates. So for example, the venue in Portugal, there is the default language Portuguese. In China, and so you can define everything. For example, if a company has Extreme on the one venue and Rukjes on the other, and on an other venue they have missed, they can just create 3 templates. They just can configure 3 Wi-Fi network integrations, and they are ready to go. So I think it's pretty easy to use also for companies that have multiple venues. So here you can choose templates and you can create multiple of them. So
I like how you show a demo of that on the web page, where when you're filling it out, you can see instantly what it's going to look like without having to bust out your tablet and go, did I do this right?
Yes, indeed. For example, if I just I'm just putting one, and if I submit, so I've picked another logo. I just pick submit, and it's automatically applied. So you get immediately an example in the dashboard. So also for me, it is very helpful to give a demo. But also, if you want to change the layout or something, it's very easy to test with and play with it. So and
you
also.
Should, I was gonna say you should upgrade the iPad frame and use the iPad Pro, like new generation.
I'm sorry, it's just the one I found on the internet.
No, I'm just kidding with you.
But you can see for this layout you can choose. I changed 3 colors. You can add the background color. You can even add custom CSS if you want. So you can fully customize the layout and also the default languages and all that kind of. So voila, that was a one-click. I don't know if you have any questions about that, guys.
Can you have like for when you do the one-click registration, can you have people entering their email address or their phone so they actually receive the password on their phone or email?
If you want that, then we have the visitor registration solution. What's
Okay.
another
Okay.
solution? So I will show you that solution now. So that was the one click is just very easy. One button. If you click on it, it generates a Wi-Fi password. Then we have the visitor registration solution, and that's where we yeah you at a lot of companies, if you come in at the reception, you need to fill in your name, your license number, the time of arrival, and all that kind of
You need to
stuff.
sign the COVID-19 agreement.
Yeah. Before
Yes,
you get your password to the SSID. Yes.
Yeah.
indeed, that kind of stuff. And so we do it on a tablet. So also here you can change the logo, the colors, the default language, all that kind of stuff. But also the fields the visitor needs to fill in. Which one are optional, which one are mandatory. So that are all things you can define. You also have an here to see field. So for example, I'm visiting myself, Jonas Dekkers. So you need to type in at least 3 characters, and then we will pop up all the employees that match that 3 characters. We can
Wow.
also send an email and an SMS to the employee that this visitor has checked in.
That's
And you do
interesting.
that with the Office 360 integration?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
indeed. So the employees you can put in manually, CS by CSV, or you can use the integration with Azure Office 365 or Google G Suite.
Yeah.
And of
Could
course,
you
yes.
could you even tie this into something like a chat application that people use, either Slack or Cisco WebEx, and just have your system message them and go, "Hey, Jonas is here at the front desk. You should go see him."
It's on the to-do list. So indeed,
Okay.
you are looking at
So tomorrow
that.
will be done, all right?
Okay, I'm going to work the all night to integrate it.
I think
No,
that's
it's
it's neat. I think it's so I see this a lot in where I live in the Bay Area, where you come into the front desk and there is a iPad there where you check in, and they have like a terms and conditions, right, about you're coming in here. It's like an NDA, and then you can type in your the person you're trying to see, you want to see, and it does notify them. So there are people who have apps just dedicated to that, but you're integrating both the notification of the person you're here to see, and then you're also getting your guest password to the network, which you're already knocking out like 2 things, because
yes,
that's usually the next question is, all right, I'm here to show you something, but I need to connect to the Wi-Fi, and you can get your password already through this.
yes, indeed. So we can provide the Wi-Fi password on several ways. So we can, if they fill in the mobile number, we can send it by SMS. If they fill in their email address, we can send it by email address. We provide it on the screen, so on the tablet, also with a QR code, so you can just scan in with your mobile phone, and your mobile phone is automatically connected. And if you want, we can also print it out. We can print out a visitor badge. We can print out the visitor badge and the Wi-Fi details, or we can print out only the Wi-Fi details. So you can you can do both. Also, this message now it's very easy, but you can also say, for example, welcome first name. So you can also make it personal. You can just I will show
Just like
you later.
a field that you can.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You can use parameters, so you can change this, the welcome text, but also the email we are sending, the SMS that we are sending, that are all templates that you can change.
Yeah.
So
And I'm guessing
very,
like the printing and the scanning of a badge part is not really part of the, say, Mist integration, right? This is just a separate you've added, and then you have a printer connected to it, so you can just print it out, right? It's not something that
yes.
you pull from a Mist or other Wi-Fi API.
With Extreme, they have built in an SMS and an email server. So for Extreme, you can choose if you use our server or our SMS integration, or use the one from Airwife. With Mist, you need to use ours and with the other vendors. One very important advantage of this solution is if you use the one click, the one with the button, and you make it time based. If you come back, we will generate a new unique PSK, because we don't know that you are the person in front of it and that you're coming back. So you need to remove the SSID before you can enter a new password. With this solution, we see, okay, it's a returning visitor, because we already know his email address. So we can recreate the same Wi-Fi password again. So he's automatically connected again when he check in. So, and all the data of the visitors is also kept in our system. So you have an overview of all your visitors. This is already the third demo I do today. So John Dewey is already checked in 3 times. One time I filled in Jonas Dekkers also as a visitor. But you have an overview, and also you can for example, print out from the back out, or send the Wi-Fi password again by SMS.
Okay. Yeah, so if they call you and say, "Hey, I forgot my password," you could resend it to them.
Yes, indeed. And some
assuming they can
companies
check your email.
Yes, indeed, that's correct. But that's 5G, and some companies don't want to use a tablet, and so they just want to be able that the employees can create a Wi-Fi password for their guests, and that it's for example valid for 1 day. So that's also possible. So for example, you can just log in with your Office 365 Azure or Google G Suite credentials on our portal. You can fill in the details you want, and say, okay, I need one Wi-Fi password in VLAN X. You can choose which VLAN, and the password must be deleted never, or after 1 day, of after sign out. So you have different possibilities. So we also see some customers that are looking for that kind of solution.
But by default,
that would be nice to. I was going to say that would be something nice to integrate with Slack, so you don't have the employees to log in into the portal. They can just do it from Slack. Can I just authorize this guest to go on the Wi-Fi for 1 day, and boom, it just does everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities here with the API. So if they do integrate Slack a lot in their company, yeah, you can type in like a bot and have that kind of generate it for them. I was also curious, by default, when you are going through that registration, how long do you keep the names and the passwords? Is that in the system forever, or is it gone after 7 days, or is that something you set by you have a default value that you can set?
At the moment, it is kept, but also for the GDPR in Europe, we will change that in one of the upcoming releases, so you can choose it by yourself when all the personal data is deleted. The only disadvantage of deleting the data is that we don't can regenerate the same unique PSK, because we don't know we don't know if he is a returning visitor. So that's something you need to consider. How long do you want to keep the data?
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. I think also I already mentioned that you can change all the registration fields, all the email templates, and then we have still one more solution. So we have seen 2 solutions for the visitors. We also have a solution for employees. So we see that a lot of companies doesn't have any server anymore, but they have need on a secure onboarding on the Wi-Fi, or or there are a lot of companies that use Radius for the bring your own devices. But with, for example, with the latest update of Azure of Android, that can be a problem. Because in the past, the default option was don't check the certificate. But with the latest update of Android, that option is disabled. So if you want to log in with Radius on your bring your own device, Android device, then you need to install the certificate on the personal device. So that can be an issue. And that's why Unique PSK is a great way of connecting your employees. It's secure, and every device is how do you say it? It's compatible with it. So it's a very good alternative. And the only problem is you need to maintain another database. So you need to create for all your employees a unique PSK. If someone starts at the company, you need to create a new one for that person. If he leaves the company, you need to manually delete it. You need to assign a VLAN to it. And that's why we created our Bring Your Own Device solution. So we were thinking, what are the biggest databases in the world, and the cloud databases, and then we are, okay, that's Azure, Office 365, and Google G Suite. So we are using their database to get all the users in sync. So how do we do that? If you have questions, just just say it.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm waiting to see how you do that, how you onboard the BYOD devices.
Okay, that's great. So first of all, you need to go to the backend and to define which group may log on the Wi-Fi, and also say in which VLAN they will receive a unique PSK. But you can also block certain user groups. So we get all the user groups out of Azure Office 365 or Google G Suite. And there you can say, for example, students, I want to block them, or I want to link them to a specific VLAN. In this example, we have blocked the students, and if a teacher logs in, you will get a unique PSK in VLAN 10. Administration will get in VLAN 20. If someone logs in and he doesn't belong to any groups, then the last row will be applied. The last row can be a block all. For example, if he logs in and he doesn't belong to the groups, then we say you don't have the rights to log on the Wi-Fi. That's the block all. Or we can say just create a Wi-Fi password in the VLAN of the guests or something or another. It's just what you want. So that's how you define everything. How you do the segmentation. And the cool part is that we are using an onboard SSID. So the IT department doesn't need to do anything. The users can onboard themselves. So you can do that with an onboard SSID, or you can use a link in your intranet or something.
Yeah, that's really neat. Because then, that actually works pretty well, I think. Because as people, like, if we're talking about education here, like in your example, it's just part of the training. As people come in or visitors, you tell them to go to this SSID, they can onboard themselves, and then just query the group that they're part of, and then dynamically assign them the VLAN assignment. I think that's a great way to do it.
Yes, indeed. So the onboarding part is on an open SSID, and then there's just loading a captive portal, and you only need to do this once, the onboard portal. So it's just once, and if you come the next day in the office or at the school, you are automatically connected with the secure SSID, because we generated a unique PSK. So that's the powerful part. So
And you
can do it
configure the
by
SSID via the API, or you have to manually configure it on your Wi-Fi interface before?
At the moment, it depends on which vendor. For some, we already getting the SSIDs out of the system. We don't create any SSIDs, so you maybe
Okay.
that's something we can also add in the future. But at the moment, you need to create the SSID in the portal, so at the Wi-Fi vendor portal. For Mist, you need to type it in. For some other vendors, we already made a pop-up where all the SSIDs where the unique PSK is configured will be displayed.
Okay.
It's just on the
Yeah, I
to-do
could see.
list for Mist.
Yeah, I could see some people being concerned about broadcasting an extra SSID. You know what I mean? So I think the option of having also a link where you can just redirect your employees to is also a nice option. Like Roel was saying, you know, it's part of the onboarding. You do this once, you onboard your personal devices, and then you can access. You can connect them to the Wi-Fi network, and yeah,
Indeed,
it's good to have the
definitely an
options.
option. And we are also looking at by automatically sending the Wi-Fi password by email, so you don't need the login portal. So if a new user is added, we just check it every 20 minutes or something, and we can just send them the Wi-Fi login details by email. So that's definitely something we are looking at.
So this part here is just the onboarding piece right here, right?
Yes, indeed. So I'm now on the captive portal. I can say I'm an employee, and then I need to accept the privacy policy, and then I can push the button login with Office 365 Azure or with G Suite, depending on what you're using. You can disable and enable both, and then he will ask for credentials. But I'm already logged in because I have a single sign-on on the back end, so you can see that I'm automatically logged in.
Okay.
And I normally see, of course, he's asking after the username and the password. I will show it later. And then it's just create a unique PSK. We also made it as easy as possible, so you can just press a copy password button, and it's automatically copied to your computer, and then you need to select the secure SSID, paste it there, and you're onboarded. You can define how much characters the password will be. You can scan with your mobile phone. You can scan in the QR code, and all your devices are onboarded.
And what if they need to change that password? Let's say that password got compromised for whatever reason. It got shared to somebody else, and then they need to change it. Because if you share that password, then they also get added to that VLAN that the teacher is on, for example. How do you fix that?
At the moment, we are still working on this part. So if you're logged in on your account, you will see that you only have this screen with to define the rules. But we are working on another part, and the deleting of the Wi-Fi password will be enabled here. And maybe we can also make a button here or something where we can say refresh password or something. So that's at the moment we don't have it, but it's definitely something we can work on.
Or you could have something where I don't really like that, but you could have something where, the password automatically regenerate every 90 days, something like that. I know some companies have very strict security policies. Sometimes it can be a pain, right? But if sometimes companies have very strict policies that enforce those type of things, that could be also something you could probably do.
We can definitely do that. At the moment, we don't have it because we don't want to generate a lot of help desk tickets for the IT department.
Yeah. I get it.
So if they every 90 days need to delete the Wi-Fi network put in another
Mhm.
password again, I think you get a lot of tickets. But it's definitely something we can have a look at. So if you have a project for that, we can definitely create that. So that's possible.
Awesome.
We are also working very close together with Mist and Extreme and also for dorm houses. Where
Mhm.
we can create an unique PSK, but also a unique VLAN for every student. So they have their personal network. So if they are in a dorm house, that they have their own personal network, so they can cast
Stream.
Netflix
Yeah.
stream
Mhm.
to their television, but doesn't I can't do it to another television. And then we also get a question, yes, and what if a friend comes over and also want the Wi-Fi password? So that's why we also create the possibility to create a guest Wi-Fi password. In the future, we maybe also want to add the possibility to add that guest, for example, for one day also in the private VLAN of that student, so they can game with each other on the same net. So that are
That's
all things
important,
we
right?
yes,
So
yes,
That's the
no,
most
indeed.
Jonas,
critical pieces. Yeah.
you're supposed to say so they can so they'll be able to work on their homework together. That's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm sorry.
they're very bold, Francois. They don't even say that. They'll say, "Hey, I can't use my Nintendo Switch. Help me." They really say that. I think
So
that's cool to like at least put people on your own devices. I think that's what's great about how easy it is to do it with Mist is you can place all your single devices on the same like quote unquote network. So those are all only devices you see, right? And then being able to connect with your friends as well, like create a guest guest password and then be able to game together like with your Nintendo Switch. That would be useful. I mean, it makes people's lives easier. I know like Wi-Fi, we tend to think business only, but in education, like in a dorm setting, that's
mhm.
rarely the case.
Even in hotels,
And
you know.
yes,
Mhm.
indeed. So we also create a solution where we integrate with the software of hotels. Um, that we create that we create a VLAN for every hotel room. If a visitor checks in, we get back from the system which hotel room is assigned to the visitor. So we can create a unique PSK in the same VLAN as a hotel room. So when they are connected, they can automatically stream to the television of the hotel without
The
installing
proper
anything.
television, right?
Uh-uh. No.
Yeah.
And also to come back about the dorm houses, we are also looking at integrating the switches and wall mount APs.
Mhm.
So we can not only create an unique PSK in his private VLAN, but also automatically assign the LAN ports in his room to the private
Oh, okay.
VLAN. So
That's
Nice.
that's
interesting.
also something we are looking at.
Do you have an AP12 with you?
I have ordered one, but
Yeah.
it's not delivered yet. So
Okay.
I hope it
Yeah,
will be
me too.
soon.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
think
Okay.
your platform looks really cool, and that you can customize a lot of things. Obviously, it depends on the API capability from the vendor, but I'm curious, like, what is your background? Because you're able to leverage these APIs. Like, how did you get your start to this? Get your start and then get to this point where you're doing Wiflex.
It started a while ago. So we do we are an Airwife partner with my other company, also with some other vendors. But a few years ago, we made an integration with it calls Smart School. It's a student platform. Um, that almost all the schools in Belgium are using, and we made the same solution as our Azure Office 365 solution. It doesn't look that nice, that solution, because it was a while ago, but that was just a bit of a hobby um, experiment, but it worked very well. And we are not a big company, but we are always thinking about solutions, how we can help our customers, how we can make the life easier of our solution. So I have I've studied IT, so informatics. So, but we had some program languages, but the most I've learned with doing it, just like you guys, I think, do with Python.
Okay.
So it starts like a hobby, and now we have a full cloud-based platform with a lot of possibilities. So.
Yeah, I think that's the good story here is even Francois, you've been doing a lot of APIs, right? This you could be doing something similar and developing a solution using and leveraging APIs, and if you're selling a lot of Mist products, you can create some custom solutions that are catered to exactly what that business model is, right? And be able to make them more efficient. And I think this is one way that you're doing, Jonas, is making it easier for not just the users, but for the people who have to provide that support to the users, is onboarding and creating these passwords, because a lot of these people aren't technical at all. They need it to be as simple as possible, even if it means just printing a password for somebody like that, instead of just saying, all right, here's your password, Q, uppercase L, or having to write it down. Like, yeah, it makes it much more simple.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So do you want to talk about pricing a little bit? Because we didn't talk about that.
Yes, I can share some pricings. So if you
Do
just
you
go
do
to
you like
the
I'll
if
let
you
you
just go
speak.
to the website, you can find the prices. So you can see it in euro and in dollar. For example, our Bring Your Own Device solution is based in staffels of users. So till 10 employees, it's free. Till 50 employees, it's $55 a month. So we try to make the pricing as easy as possible, but also affordable for all the companies. So if you compare this with a neck solution or something, then we are very cheap. Okay, we can't do everything from a neck solution, but I know there are a lot of companies and projects that just buy a neck solution just for the onboarding part, and then you will see that also for the configuration and for the maintaining, you need not many hours for our solution. So I think that's really powerful about.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are also flexible. So if you have a customer that comes in with like a specific need, it looks like you guys will be able to kind of help them, add the features or whatnot. So I guess that's another plus compared to big NAC solution where you just, one customer in thousand of customer, and you might not matter as much because, the big fish or whatnot.
Yes,
that's true.
indeed.
No, I don't know.
No,
Tell me if I'm saying
it's true. Yeah. I mean, the big thing here is you don't even need a physical appliance on site, right? Exactly. So, like, I think that's a huge plus as well. No one wants to manage anymore some physical device, and then if that goes down, like, who knows? Like, who do you call? And then it takes a long time, and then you can't even get users on Wi-Fi. Like, those are the kind of challenges hospitals face, right?
Indeed, I think that's also one of the big advantages. It's fully cloud-based, especially if you sell cloud-based solutions like Mist or Extreme or Cisco Meraki. Then then also the onboarding part is also cloud-based. So I think that's very
yeah,
useful.
yeah.
Which vendor do you? Which vendor do you see your customers primarily using? Like, do you have stats on that? Like, are they primarily Mist or Cisco Meraki, or is it just kind of everything across the board?
The most customers they are using Extreme Airwife, Mist, or Ruckus. That are the
Okay.
I had a demo today to a big company. They are using Cisco Meraki, but then we have the limitations of the unique PSK. So that's a problem. It can be if you use free radius, then you can create a lot of IPSKs. But then first of all, you need to set up the free radius.
Free radius, yeah.
And yes, and also you need to assign a MAC address to it, and with the MAC randomization.
Yeah.
That's also not a good idea. And for our visitor solutions, if someone logs in on the tablet, we don't know which MAC address he's using. With our Bring Your Own Device solution, we get the MAC address from the captive portal. So that could be a solution, but we prefer to not use the MAC address.
Okay.
So do we need to say all the prices, or?
No, that gives us an idea. That's good. People want to know more, I'm sure they can go to the website.
Yeah. And what is the website, just so if people want to visit it right now?
Wiflex.eu. So,
okay.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't talk about the pricing, which you just showed it, but for the people listening, so yeah, I should have mentioned that. So for the BYOD, it's free, like you said. If you have 10 employees or less, 50 is $55 a month or 50 euros a month, and then they have a 100 employee at $85 a month or 75 euros a month. And if you want to visit a registration, this will be 200. If you have 250 visitors, it's 60 euros a month or $65. And then you have 500, 1,000. I'll let you guys check out the pricing. So like you said, yeah, it looks pretty affordable. I think your solution ties really well, like you said, with other cloud managed solutions. You don't need to install any servers on site or NAC solutions VM or whatnot. You can just do everything from there, and it's less headache, and it can be up and running pretty fast, which is always nice. All right, Jonas, I think that's pretty good. Do you have anything else you want to add? Are you working on something new or something you want to share with us?
We are always looking on some new features. But the last part was the possibility to log in with Office 365 and also define rights. So you can create an administrator, but also an operator. They have less rights, of course. Now you can just assign Azure user groups and automatically assign them to an operator user role. All that kind of stuff. We are working to make it easily to onboard multiple people. So at the moment, every user needs to fill in his first and last name, and then start over again. For the next guy can. So we will add the possibility that you get on one screen to add multiple people signing in. All that kind of small things we are looking at.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So, well, thank you for joining the show today. Where can people find you online? Do you have any Twitter or anything like that you want to share?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Jonas Dekkers, and on Twitter, my name is I need to change that maybe, but it's complete_BE. So you can find me like that.
Awesome.
I need to change. And also Wiflex you can find on Twitter.
Awesome. We'll share that in the show notes. The show notes will be at cleartostand.net/254 if you guys want to check that out. Well, thank you, Jonas. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, Roel.
You too, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure as always. And we'll see you guys in the next episode next week. Have a good week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.